Hey, Katrina.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, we got a project today, and it's just a little bit too wet to get the tiller out in the garden. It's just the way our soil works. It can dry up right on top, but if we begin to dig out very deep, it'll be too wet to work.
Yeah, it rained a lot of yesterday and maybe this morning.
Yeah, and it's going to rain again tomorrow, so we don't really have much time here.
But it's getting about time. We need to plant another bit of corn, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, look how our other corn's already growing.
You can see it sticking out of the ground back there a little bit.
I do see a couple stalks that looks like been eaten by the rabbit.
Ooh.
That's not good. But so what we've got here is something to maybe be able to till it a little bit shallower. In one of our last videos, I said something about we really didn't ever use my Hoss Wheel Hoe for much except for with the plows.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of inspired me and also got me to thinking that sometimes I really would like to have a more tillage-oriented tool.
Right.
So we got this Disk Harrow. Now when a bigger tractor uses a Disk Harrow, it has two gangs. The front gang actually throws the dirt outward from the center, and then the rear gang throws it back into the center, so you end up with a level seedbed behind you.
Yeah.
But for the old tractors and horses way back in the day, they didn't have enough power to have a tandem disc, as that was called. They only could just pull one gang. And so that's what it is, because I don't have as much power as Johnny either. If you'll notice, the way this is going to work, it's going to throw the dirt to the center and make a hump.
Right, yeah.
So what we end up doing is we take half of a pass each time.
Okay.
And that way, we're able to throw together the pile in the center, and then we come along and we pull half of it back. So that's what you see here. Okay?
So you've put your wheel essentially on the line between the tilled and not tilled soil.
Yeah, I'm just putting it in the furrow there made by the disc.
All right.
And then here we go.
It doesn't appear to be very hard to push. Although Dad tends to make that kind of stuff look easy. So now the dirt.
Go with the more standard push and pull method, because it pushes easier this way, but it does leave a little rougher seed bed in that situation. Well, what do you think of that?
I think it looks like it's worked pretty well, yeah, especially when you did the push and pull. You say it leaves it a little rougher, but I almost think it looks smoother.
Maybe it does. Maybe I'll try that going this way and see what it does. I may be going a little bit deeper.
I think so. Perhaps with shorter bursts of energy, as you might call them, you're able to go deeper instead of solely focusing on going forward. You know, physics and vectors and such. Dad, what if you tried pulling this? Like walking backwards.
Well, I'd have to turn the discs a different direction.
Remember how we talked about how pulling is easier than pushing?
Yeah.
Because you're not really pushing into the ground?
Yeah, but in this case, I kind of want to push into the ground so I can get them to disc, right?
That is true, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But
I don't know.
It does a good job of tearing out the weeds, too. Especially the real small ones.
Are those weeds or are they potatoes?
They are, and the bigger ones are volunteer potatoes. That's where we had our potatoes last year.
That's what I thought.
So,
for those of you that remember, this used to be covered in mountains of wonderful potatoes. Yes.
But it really doesn't push very hard.
Really?
I've done all of that, and even as poor a shape as I'm in, I don't really have any issue.
This is definitely more interesting than studying for AP tests.
It doesn't push too hard as long as I don't go in too deep. I need to go in to the maximum there to the axle on that. This is the maximum depth. Any deeper than that, and I'm pushing unnecessarily.
Yeah, you'd have the axle there getting in the way.
Just a blade instead of a. So it does a good job when I go with that depth.
What do you think the depth is, Dad?
Well, I would say about 1.5 inches, 2 inches.
So is that deep enough for most gardens, do you think?
Well, it wouldn't. Understand, this only works because the garden's been tilled in the spring.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you couldn't do this as primary tillage. In fact, I could try it on a place, but there's other videos online that try to show this disc harrow in use. And if it's on hard dirt, it doesn't work.
Yeah. So what would you say would be the best use for this?
To just exactly what we're doing here. In fact, if we have time this evening, I'll finish this up. We may actually plant a few rows of corn behind this. But if ground has already been tilled or it's loose, some sandy soils don't even need to be tilled probably. But this soil would have had to have been tilled. But as long as it's been tilled this season, it'll be fine. Now, some harder clay soils, I don't know that this would be a good fit for.
So, where do you think, like in the country, the clayest soils would be?
Well, I don't know, but I guarantee you that watchers of this video will know what kind of soils they got and whether they think they can work with it after they get done with this.
Yeah, so if you are watching from anywhere in the country or the world, comment and tell us where you're from and what kind of soil you have, because I'm interested.
Yeah. How about going down to the end and watching it come towards you? Or have you done that real close?
Here it comes. Kind of looks like a plane in a sense, with like multiple wings or engines or something. Wow. Oh, I'm gonna get run over here. Dad, do you think this in any way could resemble a plane? You know, you got the big part at the top, kind of like the nose of the plane, and then the swept back wings.
I don't know. I guess it could be.
I guess it could be from Dad. That's a slightly unexcited answer. Kind of sad, you know. Sometimes my visualizations make sense to him, and sometimes they don't. That's all right.
Okay, I've got one more twist on the Hoss Wheel Hoe Disk Harrow tonight. And that is that I've turned, well, first you can see that I've added a second wheel. So now it's a double wheel hoe. And so with the second wheel, I can actually straddle a row. So then what I've done is I've turned those disc blades around so they're pointing outward. And that leaves a little gap between them for the row to go. So you can see where I've done the first row, and I can just tell you this is not necessarily as effective or it's certainly not easy to keep from plowing out the corn. And so I'll let you watch and see what you think of this, but I'm not sure it's quite as successful as the other disc. We'll see. For one thing, I have to go much slower because there's risk of it going sideways on me a little bit and wanting to take out that corn entirely. I don't know if I've knocked out a single weed. This row that I didn't get rid of on that first pass. We'll see. There, I got it. So it's doing great between the rows. But it's just not very well suited, I don't think, as it's configured for a row crop straddling the row implement. There you have it. Well, I think that's, now where it's real muddy, I don't know if you can see this. When it gets real muddy, the mud wants to take up in there. That's not unusual for a disc. Most of the bigger discs come with scrapers. I wouldn't want scrapers on a wheel hoe disc, but that's how that's dealt with. They have scrapers that scrape along there to keep that dirt off. Thanks for watching. Hey, I want to say thanks to everyone who watches our videos. We really appreciate it. We have a lot of fun putting them together, and it's been a good memory for Catril and me. And so if you like the videos, make sure you press the like button and
subscribe!